there's about 7 million men in the United States that are of working age and do not have disabilities. They are able. They are working able and they are working age, and they are not engaged in the workforce.
First off, I think that we have, in the social media age in particular, been sold this lie that your work has to be your purpose. And that if you don't absolutely love your job and find that purpose and calling in it, that you shouldn't be doing it, and that you need to be miserable. And I think that is a very dangerous lie, because the reality is you don't have to like what you're doing to see it connected to something higher order in your life. I mean, I spent thousands of hours having conversations with people as I researched this book and talking to a lot of people about their purpose. And there was one man in particular who works at a factory on like an assembly line. He puts together widgets, hates his job, works 10-hour days doing something he doesn't like. But he has so much energy for his job because of one simple thing. Every single day, he connects it to his higher order purpose, which is to be the father that he didn't feel he had, right, to provide for his boys, to give them a life that he didn't feel like he had. And so every day when he goes to work, he knows he doesn't like the work, but he knows that it is in service of something on a higher level, something that he does take very seriously, something that gives him this incredible feeling of pride that he is acting in the service of others. And so for him, it's an incredible example of that. Like, you don't have to necessarily enjoy every single thing that you're doing all of the time for it to be in service of a greater good in your life, well, whether that's personal or on a broader level.
Even in a dream job, you're going to have 25, 30% of your day. It would be a rule of thumb that it's monotonous, you don't enjoy it. And I think that's a very key point. But in making that point, I do want to say this. I think that we've also got an equally damaging lie that says work, it's not meant to be enjoyable. You can't find meaningful work. It's just something you have to do to live. I think you're right, but you got both of these lies over here that have created confusion for a lot of people, where it's like, and while I agree you can have a higher purpose than purpose in the work, that's absolutely true. But I also believe a lot of people don't believe they can do work that they enjoy just by looking at their wiring.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of like the lost pride in punching the clock on something, and the joy that you can feel in punching the clock.
Yes.
My dad's grandfather was so my great grandfather on my dad's side was a vegetable peddler in New York City. This is like probably the 1920s or something like that. And my dad always tells me stories about him when I was growing up of how he'd go out for these 12-hour days because he'd have to be at the dock to go pick up the fresh vegetables or whatever at 4 a.m. and then he'd go spend the whole day and he'd come home and he'd have his dinner and take his hot bath and then do the whole thing over again every single day because there was no days off. It was just what he did. And the amount of pride generationally that I think was also just taken in the hard days work idea
absolutely
has sort of been lost. I mean, now we have this it's sort of become a meme of you should work smart, not hard. And my take on that in general, especially for young people when they bring that up, is you cannot work smart before you work hard. And for one actually very simple reason, which is when you are young, the only asset that you have is time. That is literally your only asset because you don't have money, you don't have networks, you don't have experience, you don't have knowledge, you don't have wisdom. You don't have any of those things. All you have is time. And so what you need to do is you need to trade that time to get those things that you don't have. You trade the time to get money, to get networks, to get wisdom, to get experience. Then once you have those, you can take them and put them into the most important opportunities. You can work smart to get those high leverage outcomes, the 10, 100,000x outcomes that you're looking for. But you can't do that in the opposite order because you don't have those things that allow you to work smart. It's like one of those video games where you're on a map and the whole map is black and you're in the one spot of light. And saying working smart is saying okay, I'm only going to drill in the area where I am. But you don't know if the gold is there. So why would you drill there? Yeah. You need to work hard to go uncover the map. Now you know where the gold is, and now you can work smart in that one area for the next 10 years to chip away at it.
I'm going to put you on the spot because I know you can handle it, but let's just create a little metaphor here, a little fantastical scene. You've got let's say these millions of young men that are frustrated, your thoughts on society in general. What are a few truths, some hard truths straight from Sahil? You're going, okay, boys, this is what you need to know right now, because I think you're really tapping into something right now. What would you say to them? What do they need to know?
The only way to make money is to create value. There's no shortcut to making money. The only way to make a lot of money is to create a whole lot of value for other people. And focusing anywhere else on whatever the hack, whatever the cheat code, whatever the system, whatever the hot buzzword is that someone's trying to sell you in their course or their Discord community or whatever it is that people are selling you, is losing sight of the real core atomic unit of this, which is just identify a problem, create a solution, and then scale that solution. That's all making money is. It sounds simple. Doesn't say it's easy, but that's all it is. So if you don't know where to start, rather than worrying about courses and, all of the fancy stuff that people are trying to sell you, just look around you and identify a problem and then figure out a solution to that problem and then figure out how to scale that solution. The more you can scale it, the more money you're going to make. But there's no cheat code to making money. That's all it is. The richest people in the world have created billions and billions, trillions of dollars of value for other people, and they've captured a small portion of that. And so losing sight of that, I think, is a really big pain point for a lot of people. Another one is there's no such thing as making it. I constantly, when I talk to young people, have this thing of people say, oh yeah, once I make it, then I'll just be able to coast. Then I'll chill. Then I'll do this. Once I get this much money, then I'll be happy. Then I'll just chill. That's not how a market or how an economy works. The second you stop, no one's giving you money. No one's handing out this stuff, right? It's if Apple stops producing iPhones, in 2 years, they will no longer be a big company. It's just they're biggest company in the world, right? They will not exist anymore if they stop producing value for other people. And so it's like that old adage of a gazelle wakes up every morning and it has to outrun the lion or it'll be eaten, and the lion wakes up and has to outrun the gazelle or it'll starve. And the point is that whether you're the gazelle or the lion, every single morning when you wake up, you better start running. And that applies to life very clearly. The last one I'll share is there is a very easy out of blaming your time or energy. And what you really need to blame is your desire. I had a conversation recently with this 27-year-old who was complaining that he was not happy with his standing in life and with his job, and he wants to go start his own thing. He hates his job, doesn't find any value or purpose in it. But he said, I don't have the time to go start this new thing. And so I asked him to walk me through his day. And he walked me through the structure of his day, and it involved 2 hours in the evening that was basically eating dinner and kind of Netflix and chilling to end the day. And so I said, okay, why don't you take 30 minutes of that or an hour of that and use it to start building this future vision that you have for your next life? And he said, no, I can't do that. I really need that time to unwind. And my response was, do you need to unwind more than you need to change your life? And I don't mean that to sound brutal or harsh. I mean it quite literally, that you have to make sacrifices and trade-offs if you want to change your life. If you don't want to change your life, you don't need to. Then continue to unwind and do that. But you need to decide whether the thing that you truly want in life is going to supersede the thing that you are currently doing. Yeah. And you need to make the trade-offs and sacrifices and incur the pain in order to get to the other side of that. Most people aren't willing to hold themselves to the fire in that way. You say I don't have the time or energy, but if you have a 6 a.m. flight to go on vacation, you will get your ass out of bed at 3 a.m. to go make that flight. Right. But then if it's the same wake up time to go and change your life, you're saying you don't have the time or energy to do it. So the cognitive dissonance that's there is very real.